people? I'm all alone.
Not really.
No. Here's Frank from Tieftöner, who you might have seen in the Tieftöner video from the Padua Guitar Show Venice thing, where in a loud room we moved the mic around the speaker. And now we're going to do the same thing, but much gooder. Right?
More or less.
Yeah. So what's happening is you guys are weird and you stand in a practice room and you stand in front of your 412 or 212 and right in front of it and you can't hear yourself because your legs don't have ears. But you're hearing the other guitar player really, really, really well because he's on the opposite side of the room. And those frequencies, because mids and high end are directional, are blasting in your face. So what you're going to do is you're going to crank yourself up, therefore blasting it louder at him and your feet. Therefore, he can't hear himself, and the game continues. That's dumb, right? Same thing, you at a venue, small venue, you play with a jazz combo, you play with a choir or whatever in a hotel lobby, and you can't hear yourself because you're standing right in front of your speaker, because if you step further away, you're actually off the stage because the stage is really small. And what you're going to do, you crank yourself really loud so you can hear yourself compared to the drummer and the bass player. But then the grandma in the first row, sipping a martini, is going to be deaf. So what do?
You simply buy my cabinets.
And the video's done. That's it. Yeah. Buy his shit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you. And moving on. Buy Frank's shit. Done.
Yeah.
So some of you after the Venice video said, well, what about in-ear monitoring? Okay, that's a good point. It's a very good point. Yes. But very likely not in the hotel lobby where you're actually amplifying from stage. Not in the small pub where you're amplifying from stage, because you're still playing those gigs where there's no PA. And even if there's a PA,
usually it's only for the vocals.
It's for the vocals, or it might actually be, there might be a PA even for the mic cab, but there might not be monitoring. So, and if there's monitoring at all, then it'll probably be one speaker for the vocalist. We're talking small setups.
Yeah.
And most certainly not when we're talking about playing with the choir, which I've done quite a bit, modern pop choirs. There's no PA, there's no monitor, there's nothing. You have to hear yourself from the cab. So that's the situation.
And for me, as originally a bass player, you want to feel the bass. You want to have the vibes, and you usually as bass player you don't really like this in-ear monitoring. You can hear yourself very well, but you don't feel it. And so with my cabinets, you have both. You have the good vibrations, and you can still hear.
That should be a song. Someone should write a song.
Yeah, it would be a good name.
Yeah. Good,
maybe
good vibrations. It's like that. It's good melody.
Let's stop this video and write the song.
Yeah. See you later. We're writing this now. In-ear monitoring, good thing, but there are reasons why you don't want to use it or why you can't use it. So I think the use of this is not for the huge Rammstein stage, where you very likely have in-ear monitoring. You're also running around, 100 meters left and right.
Then you don't need this.
Absolutely. We're not saying this is for everyone. Also, some people said, why not just use D-Flex? And I think that's a very good point.
Yeah, sure.
It's a very good point. You can use D-Flex with your current speaker. It'll cost you €350. I have D-Flex. I love D-Flex. I think it's a very good system. With D-Flex, standing right next to the cab, you will hear yourself a lot better than without it. There's no question about it. However, not as well as with a Tieftöner Cab.
And of course, a part of the frequency which should go out to the audience is going up. So,
well, but with D-Flex, that's also one of the things, because the audience are getting the beam from the middle, which you do want to break up. Yeah. So that's not a bad thing. But I think D-Flex fully works to hear yourself better. But your system works even better because you literally have we didn't tell you what the system is. There are speakers in the top. Done. Video done again.
Sure.
So, I can sit on it, he said. But under my bum is a speaker. There's a speaker in here. There's a speaker in here. I mean, let's look at the guitar cab. We're not opening it on top, but here are some clips from the guitar cab. It's a 12 to the front. It's a 12 to the top, which means technically, all around, you should have, if the theory is true, the same sound.
I think we should test it.
Well, yeah, we're getting to that, Frank. Okay, so let's look at the big bass cab. I guess that's 2 10s to the front and 1 10 to the top, no?
Yes.
Yeah? What?
Yes.
Do you know your product?
Yeah,
Frank?
I think it's 3 10s.
So 2 10s going straight to the audience, and when you're standing next to it or a little bit in front of it, you have 1 10 helping you go on top, as the clips that you're seeing right now will tell you. And when you look at these, they are frighteningly heavy. By the looks of them. Frighteningly heavy. Like I looked at it outside and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to carry this upstairs. I really hope Frank comes and does it himself. And then I did this. And it's really not heavy. The 212 Synergy cab back there is heavier. And this is
Yeah. Just to give you some technical details, the small bass cabinet Henning just carries is about a little bit below 10 kilograms. The guitar cab with 2 12-inch speakers, it's about 18, 19 kilograms. And the one with the 3 10-inch speakers, the bass cabinet, it's about 19 kilograms. So it's all 20. So it's quite light.
20-ish.
Yeah.
Definitely not extremely heavy. Not in any way like a traditional cab.
Yeah, that's also, I use speakers with neodymium magnets for all my cabinets to have them light.
The thing is, you can put in whatever the fuck you want. So you can get this cab and say, I want it with blah, 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 blah.
No problem.
Can you get it without anything loaded and you put in your own?
Yes, but then the problem is that the speakers have various dimensions, and
Okay.
I also use, let's say, some stuff that you can use, not the wooden screws, but this special machinery screws. So I need to have the exact position of the holes.
So the best idea is
Yeah.
send their speakers to you or order it
Yeah.
with the speakers you want. But you can get whatever. And his philosophy is the same speaker going to the front is going up, so that there's no differences in sound, and wherever you're standing, it sounds the same. And it is fascinatingly exactly that. Wherever you're standing, it sounds the same. So they are light. They are well built. You can sit on them. You can spill your beer on them, apparently, because for some reason, I don't know how, magically, they are a little bit waterproofed. You can definitely, because it's strong enough, put an amp on it.
Yeah, that's
okay. On the 212, I mean, we're calling it 212. It looks like a 112, but there's 212s in there. It'll be tough to put on a big ass,
Yeah, but it's about 50 centimeters broad, so let's say at least the mid-size or this lunchbox.
Most certainly. And here's the thing: who is going to use this? The guy that wants their 412 Marshall with the Marshall on top of it at the rock show? No, those guitar players will never be your customers. We're talking about working musicians playing the club gig, playing in the hotel bar, the choir, the jazz gig. All these guys that have to have something light, possibly quiet, and something where they hear themselves extremely well, not moving around on stage. Actually moving around on stage, I'm sorry. But yes, you could move around, but even just I'm thinking of the jazz guy sitting next to his cab. Because when you sit next to your cab, you usually do not hear yourself. With this, you hear yourself beautifully. But even when you walk around, the sound is going to be, as we will prove, the same everywhere. To test this, what we're doing is the 3DO binaural microphone, which is literally fake ears. And we mounted a GoPro to it so that you can see exactly the position that you will be in when you are moving around. And that gets you into that mood, that mode, that position. You have to, there's no way around this, get off the toilet right now, because I know where you're watching this. Get off the crapper and get headphones. Or if you're going to the toilet now, get your earbuds on your phone. Okay, get the earbuds. You have to hear it with headphones or buds. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you're not getting the in-the-room feel. So we will be moving around those speakers and show you the effect. The question is, should we start with the traditional speaker first? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start with a very good speaker back there, the Synergy 212, loaded with, I think, Celestians. And we'll show you the room sound. We also close mic the guitar cabs, which is likely not going to happen in those venues that we're talking about, but you're going to ask anyway, so we did it. So let's move around the Synergy 212 with me playing a nice Valiant guitar, Volta 87 pedal through the Tone King. Okay, now you want to hear the different version. So we're going to the Tieftöner Cab. What speakers are in there?
There are Celestian Creamback Neos.
Creamback Neos, so that the Neos is the lighter version. Yeah. Let's do that. We're doing exactly the same thing. I'll play different things though. And we're moving back and forth and putting you right in the action. Well, that's special. I mean, you should, I mean, if you did all your stuff right, you're on the pooper, okay? You're sitting on the crapper, and you got your earbuds in, you got your phone. I know how you're watching these videos. Don't lie to me. Also, you might actually be in front of your TV. Some of you guys watch me in the living room. Did you put on headphones like I instructed you? If not, rewind. Well, it's going to be just as good. No, it's not. It has to be headphones because the binaural microphone records like you. It's extremely important. Okay, I can't stress this enough to really have the full effect. Okay, you're going to ask, but how does it sound close mic'd? Is that relevant? Where would it be relevant? If you go to a studio are you going to take your Tieftöner Cab, or it's just say, well, they have their preferred cabs there. For you at home, you're probably going to use a Captor X or an Aux or something like this, or the Amp Central from Red 7, or the Freyet Power Load, or any of those boxes. But maybe you might want to help the front of house a little bit by miking it. And so here's the comparison. Here is the Synergy box, the Synergy Cab, only a little clip of it, mic'd with an OC16 from Austrian Audio, pretty much where the mic should be. Check this shit out. And the Tieftöner, same mic, all the same bullshit. Here we go. Now, they clearly had different speakers and all that stuff, but you know what? Both of them absolutely fully usable electric guitar sounds.
Yes.
Obviously, they sound different. They're different cabs, okay? Different speakers. But the Tieftöner Cab is not just for standing next to it and getting it blown up your bum, I was going to say, your head. It's a fully usable cab.
Well, I think for most guitar players, or most situations where you play your guitar on stage, you don't need such a 4x12 cab. This one is.
They will never get that. When I always say, do not buy 412s, buy 212s. No, but in the bottom, Kyle Ball, a great new channel. He has like 60 whatever 412s in his house. He only buys 412s. I think his house is built on 412s.
No,
These guitar players want that because they're idiots.
Okay, for those traditional guitar players, probably Tieftöner is not an option.
No.
Let me be honest. I know most of my cabinets, guitar and especially bass cabinets, I sell to professional musicians who are not. For whom the brand is not relevant. They want to have a professional sound.
It's not for the weekend warrior that gets out, 3 times a year and says, I gotta have to go take my Soldano and the Soldano 412. It's for the guy that wants the job done efficiently. It's an efficient tool to hear yourself even at low volumes. Now, let's go to the bass. He just told me that the drummers love it because usually the bass cab is next to the drummer.
Yeah.
And even the drummer hears the bass a lot better than they usually do, because usually the bass goes next to the drummer, out in the audience, bounces back. There's serious latency and delay. Here, the drummer actually hears it from the top and has a much better feedback. So I'm thinking this is very likely not just a hear yourself on the bass better, but also the rest of the band will be tighter. I played with a choir. There was drums, grand piano, bass, and the choir. And there was no amplification. I actually played a Phil Jones mini amp. It was this big with 2 5s in it. It was this big. And it was too loud for the choir. They always said, can you turn it down? It was the tiniest bass amp in the world. So this little thing right there is already overkill for that kind of situation. But for me to hear myself, I had it, it wasn't angled or anything. So this would have made me turn it down more, and I would have still hurt myself. So if you're playing anything like this, upright bass, jazz gigs, any bass player that's not blasting an 8x10 Ampeg, that's the thing.
I mean, this is something which, if you want to try this cab or the bands where my cabinet is used, this is an experience they made. your volume gets lower because you don't have to crank it up that loud because you hear yourself much better. So many bass players I gave them to said, take your cab away, test mine. They played at the same volume they were used to, and then they turned it down slowly. Normally, it's exactly the opposite way. You turn yourself louder, but with this cabinet, you turn yourself lower. So the complete sound of the band on stage, or especially in the rehearsal rooms, gets much better using this. Because not everybody tries to crank up to
especially rehearsal. Even if you're taking your big ass, way too big and loud cab live, in a rehearsal, it will get clarity into the chaos. Because you're actually hearing yourself, the other guitar player's hearing himself, because let's be honest, you'll never just change positions in the room, which, by the way, is what you could do, right? I mean,
Definitely.
they could easily do that and problem solved, but tell a guitar player not to stand in front of his amp. No, you can't possibly do that.
Direct access to all my knobs.
Because we as guitar players are freaking idiots. Okay, that's just a fact. So, a perfect example, in a rehearsal room, if you got the cash to spend, get it. So let's talk about the tiny bass cab thing. Actually, let's listen to the tiny bass cab thing.
Let's first listen.
Here's the, it's a 10 and a 10.
No, it's two 8-inch speakers. So it's very, very light. It's very, very small. It only weighs 10 kilograms. And it's still even powerful. So it's 300 watts, which is, I think it's plenty enough for most of the situations.
2 8s.
2 8s.
Here we go. And me playing bass really horribly. And without further ado, 3 10s with me playing bass even worsely. Oh my God, did I suck? But that's not what it's about. You're not buying me, you're buying the cab. Here we go. And this technically is the end of the video because now you're convinced that it works. Except that Frank wants to tell you why he even and how and stuff. And that's his story. And I'm going to eat donuts while he's doing that. So I'm going to...
I started 2017 with my cabinets, and it was I did never plan to sell them. I built this first one for me because I played. I'm a horrible bass player, so I played always in very small clubs. And the people in the front rows always said, can you please turn the bass a little bit down, because I only hear bass. And I thought to myself, fuck, I still don't hear myself. I don't hear what I'm playing. So let's try this to just put in a speaker in the top of the box. Maybe it helps. And it definitely did. So some people came to me and said, well, what's that cabinet? It sounds really good and the idea is fantastic. So build me one. And that was the reason when I started. So after I started selling them, started going to guitar shows, then guitar players came to me and said, well, we have the same issue, so why don't you build a guitar cabinet? And that's how it all started. And maybe one more idea, because I don't use tweeters in my bass cabinets, what maybe some bass players who watch this video think, why does he only have the woofers? I chose my speakers which have a very, very flat frequency response, and so I don't need them. For guitar players, forget what I just said, but for bass players it might be interesting. Maybe also some bass players watched Henning's channel. And
yes,
so
they do.
So that's just what I wanted to tell you about my personal history, my cabinets. And if you have the chance to visit me in my showroom in South Germany, or you can visit me in some guitar shows, come try them out. Come and convince yourself it's not.
I played the guitar, I walked around, and it literally sounded exactly the same everywhere. And that's really what matters. And you want to hear is why I'm actually staring into the microphone. I'm like as if this is the lens. What is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Wow, it's been a long day apparently. So it works.
It definitely does. So as I said, many professionals, they buy regular mic cabinets. They don't get anything. So it must work, else they wouldn't do it.
So the big question is, would I play one? And I'm going to be honest with you. It depends on the gig. If it's a gig where I got to be all rock and roll and I'll take my favorite amp and I want to have, and it's a stage where I can be further away from it in a position where I can hear it well, I very likely would not and might play my 212 and a D-Flex. I will always play anything with a D-Flex except his. But if I had a gig where it is the choir gig, and the kind of gigs, or a small club, or a rehearsal, 100% would I call them up and say, build me a speaker. So it is, for me personally, it would be gig dependent. Yeah. If I want to be all cool and stuff, and it's a big stage, and I know the speaker can be further behind me where I am in a better position to hear it, I might go with the 212 and D-Flex, because I'm not standing next to it, so I'm not really getting the benefit from it that much. But in the places where it is smaller and quieter, and I'm more of a side guy where I don't have to walk around and be all cool, wearing a kilt and bra and all that stuff, then I would absolutely play it.
Let's say most top 40 bands or stuff like this, yes, or playing in socials and weddings, and only having a small stage, if they have a stage at all. So that's exactly what they're built for. So
tell them the prices, then we're out of here.
Well, that's it for the last thing about the video. The one with the two 8-inch speakers is about 800 euro. The one with the 10 to 12-inch speakers, the guitar cab, is 1,000 euro. And the one with the 3 10-inch speakers, the bass cab, is 1,200 euro.
And if you're going to say, oh my God, it's $1,000 for a guitar cab, wait. Okay, the Synergy 212, and that is a 212, clocks in at 777. So it is cheaper by 200 and something, but you also hear yourself less by 200 and something. So 200 and something more to hear yourself better, I think, is absolutely fair. Looking at the D-Flex, you can buy the Synergy cab and the D-Flex, and you're actually spending more. Yes. You're spending more, then that's the point. So we're going to put links below. And we're out of here now. Donuts are gone, so our day is done. Thank you, Frank, for coming.
Thank you.
He's paying me to be here, by the way. Well, I would be here anyway because it's my house, but you get that. You get the idea. No, I really think it's a cool concept. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be here, because it's a...
Well, you're paying me.
Not that, but it's a beautiful village you're living in. It's a beautiful house, so I'm really enjoying this day, even though I have to pay for it.
Hey, whatever you want to spend your money on, my friend, okay? You guys have been cool. And links below. Animals at the end, as always.
It's getting ridiculous. Afraid of the obvious. We ignore that it's better to leave now than not at all. And silence is killing us. I guess we just talked too much before, and it's better to leave now than not at all. Do you believe it's easy? Who said it would be? The truth never is, but you gotta release me. No need to talk, 'cause silence is bliss. Let's not go back to where